I said to her, and this is a method that suits me, that I'd really I'd want to photograph her and work from a photograph, and that is, as far as I'm concerned, and certainly as far as she is concerned, being a busy person, not someone who likes to sit around for a long time, the approach that suited both of us best. So she came to my studio. I photographed her here, and I wanted to photograph her in the surroundings in the studio I'd be doing the painting. And from the pictures I took, I selected basically one in particular that I thought represented something that I wanted to use. That photograph I took of Mo was of her in my studio with me, talking to me, responding to me. So that it's not a photograph someone else took somewhere else. So there is a kind of personal thing, but involving both of us. To me, paint is very much to do with substance and surface as much as with... It's where the substance of paint dissolves into image and vice versa, that sets up a kind of tension in the surface, is what I like about paint. And it's exploiting that I find intriguing. You don't get that with a photograph. The photograph is essentially a flat. It really has no surface. It's kind of almost like a sort of Teflon surface that you can't, that nothing will stick to in a way. To me, it's the substance of paint that is something that I enjoy exploring the possibilities of it, and where that is combined with imagery, albeit from a photograph, that intrigues me. I like to work on a firm surface rather than on a canvas stretched on a stretcher which flaps around, but I like a firm surface to work on. So the canvas is stapled to the wall, primed, in this instance acrylic on linen, and then so the background of the canvas is actually the canvas colour. It's not primed in white or anything. I blew up the image drawn onto the raw primed canvas, and then the painting process starts. I wanted to do a headshot, but make it have quite an impact. I like to work on a certain scale just because of the relationship to the hand, to the size of canvas, to the size of brush, and so on. I generally like what is often considered quite a large scale. Rather than head and shoulders, hands and all that kind of thing, the face was and is what intrigues me most. Because she has individually a particularly unique history, and the history of her illness, the way her looks have been transformed by her illness, and indeed overcoming her illness, and that is very much reflected in her features, and that's really what intrigued me. She still sees herself as being young and attractive and slim and the way she was before she was ill. And you can imagine that must be, to wake up every morning and find that you're rather different from what you used to be. But I mean, in a way that has also been one of her defining characteristics as well. And that one of the things that endears her to the general populace, I think, is that although conventionally she may not correspond to the young attractive person she used to be, but nonetheless that there's another perhaps more personal attractiveness that has come through and that everyone's aware of. One shouldn't leave out, in fact, it's one of probably the most important things, is a kind of sense of humour, a sense of irreverence, which, again, how do you put that into a painting? But I hope, in a way, that implicit, you know, whether it's a twinkle in the eye or whatever. I mean, there was an incident here in the studio when she was here, when the phone rang, and she leapt over to it and picked up the phone and said, "John Keane's studio."
Hold on, Morgan. Morgan talking to Mark with you.
I hope there's a degree of intimacy as well, rather than aloofness. I think that like I said before, I mean, when you meet her, what you see is what you get. That she's a very direct and forthright individual, and I hope that would come through in the painting as well.